Have you ever thought about how one small decision, just one little mistake, can completely unravel a person's entire life? Well, today we're diving into a powerful story that's all about that. It's a tale that really gets into the true price of betrayal, and it's a price that's measured in way more than just money. We're talking about trust, honor, and your own self-respect.
So this story kicks off with something big. The source material describes it as an incident that shook the entire region. I mean, think about that. This wasn't some private mistake that was kept quiet. This was a massive public collapse that sent shockwaves through the whole community. So what on earth happened?
To really get what went down, you first have to understand the man right at the center of it all.
So at the heart of this whole thing is a man named Salman. And to really feel the impact of his fall, you need to see just how high up he was. This guy was basically a pillar of his community. You know the type. Pious, quiet, seemed incredibly reliable. The kind of person you'd trust with anything, no questions asked. He'd even earned the nickname the Trustworthy One. And that's not something you get overnight, right? That's a reputation built on years of solid, dependable behavior.
You know, there's that old saying that when a person is given power, or maybe just an opportunity, that's when their true face is revealed. It suggests that our character isn't really defined in the normal day-to-day stuff, but in those critical moments of choice. And for Salman, well, his defining moment was right around the corner.
This brings us right to that crossroads, the moment where all that trust slams right into temptation. And it all starts with a simple, everyday task that's about to become the ultimate test of Salman's character.
The test wasn't some complicated trap. It was just a straightforward request from someone who completely believed in his reputation. All he had to do was hold a sum of money for a few days. That's it. And honestly, it's that very simplicity that makes what happens next so tragic.
So the real conflict here wasn't playing out in the open. It was an internal battle. We're going to shift from the external events to the absolute war that was raging inside Salman's mind.
It's like he had two voices shouting at him. On one side, you've got his conscience, the voice of all those years of integrity, telling him to do the right thing. But on the other side, a new, powerful force was taking over: greed. The source describes it as something that veiled his mind, almost like a thick fog rolling in and blocking out all sense of reason and morality.
And this is the moment he gives in. This is the little lie he tells himself to make the unthinkable seem okay. Who's going to find out? It's a question that echoes in basically every story of betrayal, doesn't it? But he wasn't just deceiving the owner of the money. He was deceiving himself. But here's the thing about lies, especially ones that heavy. They have a really short lifespan. The day of reckoning was always coming, and it was about to arrive a lot sooner than he thought.
And just like that, the clock runs out. The man who entrusted him with his property comes back, ready to collect it, completely unaware of the internal war that Salman has already lost.
You know, you can lie with your mouth, but your body often tells the truth. And before Salman could even speak, his guilt was written all over him. The source paints this really vivid picture of a physical collapse. His face went pale, his hands started to tremble, and he couldn't even form the words to try and lie again. The betrayal was literally consuming him from the inside out. And that was it. There were no more corners to hide in, no more excuses to cling to. The charade was over. The truth was out.
So this brings us to the core of the story, the consequences. What is the actual price of a decision like this? Let me tell you, it's a whole lot more than just the money he took. The fallout was swift, and it was very, very public. First, the police get involved. Then, his honor, that reputation he'd spent a lifetime building, was just shattered in a single moment. And finally, the transformation was complete. Salman, the trustworthy one, was now, in the eyes of everyone, a criminal.
But the legal trouble, that was only part of the punishment. The things he truly lost were priceless: his respect, his peace of mind, and the trust that once defined who he was. And those are the kinds of things that, once you lose them, are almost impossible to ever get back.
So why does this one man's story matter so much? Because really, it's not just about Salman. It's a timeless, universal lesson about integrity that applies to all of us.
And here it is, the fundamental moral of the story. What is not yours can never be yours. It's such a simple, unshakable truth. Trying to take something through deceit doesn't actually make it yours. It just makes you lose everything you already had.
And that's really the power of a narrative like this one.
I mean, we can be told 1,000 times to be honest and trustworthy, but actually witnessing the complete and devastating downfall of one person who strayed from that path, that has a much deeper, more lasting impact.
So this leaves us with a pretty tough question. The story tells us what happened, but it doesn't tell us what should have happened next. Do you think there's a path to redemption after such a huge betrayal, or is losing everyone's trust for good a necessary and permanent consequence? It's definitely something to think about.